how the two of you play off each other. Then
Uh,
specifically with this dive. Jesus, Jesus. Okay, hold up. You're just dead.
I did not
Nice.
see that in stream. What the fuck was that?
I tried to jump to the high ground to take some space and set up, but then Lucio just booped me.
I didn't see that in stream.
Well played to the guy. I shouldn't jump if he was there. I just didn't look. That was my bad.
Okay.
I thought me jumping to high ground was good. It's just a Lucio.
Yeah, if you didn't get booted, it would have been fine.
It's not a horrible idea, but it's like like you said, it's a little risky. Sometimes maybe even jumping over to this high ground isn't even a bad option. While it doesn't seem like it's that much of an advantage, it still will require them to either push through parts of your team or just be unable to get to you because you're still on a form of high ground and they don't really have that, or the main force, their Mauga and Cass don't have that mobility to get to you. So you could just play this corner. And then just wait on your jump. And then maybe if you see that up there's an opportunity, or if you see that there's someone else that creates an opening, then you could look for something like that. But yeah, otherwise you're just gonna explode here. So sometimes this isn't the only option, is more or less what I'm saying. You have here, you have this. There's more than just one high ground in this game, on this map. Good play with Jamal there, though. I like our positioning so far.
Yeah, me and Joey are so cute together.
I think that your rotation might be a little too long, Prod, though. I think maybe instead
Yeah,
you could look to just...
I thought they were gonna.
I feel like when they're running out, I feel like we should be setting up to punish them. But I feel like the only person that set up was me just jumping there. Everyone else was just stacking backline, watching
I
the
thought they were
whole
gonna
enemy
stay. I
rotate.
thought they were gonna stay in the
Right?
fucking room.
But it's not just you put it. But I have 4 teammates that aren't setting up when we clearly see them running there. You know?
Yeah. So we can't really
Like I thought
control
we were
their...
gonna pressure them there, so I was gonna go behind them.
Yeah, and that's fine, but you need to keep in mind we don't really have that stopping power like they do. Like we don't have that big presence like a Mauga, like a Cass. So we can't really take them in a head-on fight. So if we tried to just stop them in one area, we're gonna struggle because we just don't have that damage output to halt them. They just have a higher frontal damage output.
Yeah, we're not. I don't mean as holding. I mean as pinching, punishing their rotation.
Yeah. So here instead, Prod, of like long rotating around, just recognize maybe instead. There is a mega here that you could look to play. You could just back up, maybe play under here. Just try to get to
I was scared because I know that all there, so I was like, and I'm just here by myself, so.
Yeah, but you have the speed to outrun them. You have the speed to outrun them, and then just be aware, Joey's here.
Like my whole team's up there.
Yeah, Keaton Star is up there. Simply just back to point. You have the safety net of backing to point and backing to spawn. Yeah, and there's a mega here. Just understand what your retreat option is that isn't necessarily going around. Because more or less what the plan should have been here, once we saw that they were moving, is just give them the space and then surround them. Not necessarily behind, but in front. So like Joey would take like this cover section. In that case, maybe Prod, you would take this area over here, and Jamal, and then the three of you would then have basically 1 to 2 to 3 good angles on them, depending on where Jamal went. And then they should either not be able to fully take this space, or they would need to collapse on someone while taking a lot of backline pressure, or just back up. They shouldn't really be allowed to just walk, I guess. Yeah, because we're just giving up that section of the map for free, which isn't necessarily bad, but it would be better if we could halt them in some way.
Yeah.
Good plan, Jamal. Maybe a little too aggressive. That's about it. Yeah, the start of that fight, though, the main thing that I could see while we did win it, it just took a little long to find that target off rip. Just make sure that the two of you are, Prod, you're listening to what Joe's calling. That's the best I can say for that. Because you are able to look at what he's calling. It's just coming down to, are you doing it or not? Similar thing here, yeah. This is a good rush, and it kind of it's all the fight.
I'm a demon, bro.
Your survivability is quite impressive. I can say that.
Thank you.
It's just coming down to it. These fights are taking a little too long to like die out, or yeah, they're just surviving for too long, in my opinion. And that just coming down to our characters individually just don't do that damage output that would be good for a team fight. So that's why diving needs to be on the same person. So yeah, just finding that same target is really what we need to do more often. It is not Mauga. There we go, Lucio, great. Cass, great.
I'm a demon, bro. Look at me go.
Jamal needs to be on that Kiri with you though.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, because it doesn't just come down to the both of you. It comes down to, if we're running this hard dive, it comes down to all three of you. It's not always going to be perfect, but especially if Joe is dead, the DPS need to play together even more than just when he is alive. I love Mauga's survivability, but yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we were playing the drums for about 2 minutes.
Ah,
Look at
yeah.
Spawn.
It's always fun trying to VOD scrims on scrim codes.
Round 2. Capture the objective.
Okay, no swaps to the comp. Now
I feel like here.
go ahead.
Yeah, go on.
No, you go. You go.
I feel like here we just had a really slow, like when the enemies are like rotating, like we want to be trying to dive. I just felt like setting up was just way too late, and it was a big missed opportunity.
Yeah, no, I
If that
can
makes sense.
partially agree with that because yeah, we don't really need to set up because they are running a poke comp. While setting up would be nice, it's not as necessary because they don't have that high damage when we're in there, like a brawl comp would. Because poke comps don't really favor playing all together because they favor playing all those split angles and not really playing as a stack. So we don't necessarily need to have as good of a setup as we would for something like a brawl comp when we need to get everyone in position so that we can't so that that stagger fight doesn't come in because we will get picked off in a stagger fight. But against a poke comp, we won't necessarily get picked off staggering our engages. So we can't as long as we recognize that okay they're playing this type of comp, so we can play this kind of way. Meaning that we don't need to set up we don't necessarily need to set up as much because Joe, you could easily dive right here and you won't die because they don't have that damage. Unlike last round, you could easily dive this Soj. You could easily dive all the way back here, and then that's the same with Prod and Jamal. You guys could all do solo dives in some cases. While it's best if we go in with as a team, solo dives would create a lot more pressure and split them up even more, mispositioning certain people, allowing us to in turn kind of actively set up instead of like defensively set up for attacks.
Like you see how they're already just there, and
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah, and which is I understand. But yeah, Joe, if you wanted to just say go ahead and go in and just do a dive, you simply bubbling that and just not getting all of them within that bubble, just kind of splitting their target, their ability to shoot you specifically all at once. That's perfectly fine. That'll stop some of them from moving, force out a bunch of util, and then once Jamal and Prod are able to catch up to you, that's you guys should have advantage there. Purely because you just forced out a couple of things. Because they don't have that damage output to really melt you like that.
The objective is now
Very interesting positioning for them. Yep, and while the dives worked, I'd like them to still be a little bit more together. Just making sure that we're looking at the same target so that those kills, in case they are better players, they hit their shots better more often, we don't get ourselves picked off like what happened with Prod in this corner.
Yeah, I just got rocked.
Yeah,
It was
so
unlucky.
it's something that you just have to be cautious of. Like it's understanding like yes, stagger engaging is a little bit better in some cases, but not like only staggering by like half a second, making sure Joe goes in right before you so that he's the main focus of the fight and not you.
Yeah.
So like Rock will go out for him, and then now you can go in. So that's something like that. Want to rewatch that? What happened with Jamal?
I think he was just on the same angle as me, so when they were shooting me, it killed them.
Yeah, you're
It
all on
killed
the
him.
same angle. Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Yeah, I
this
didn't want to go behind because they got the turret there. So
yeah, which is a little unfortunate, but sometimes you just have to take care of it. And I would have
yeah,
I would have been fine if you just were back here and you went around and just jiggle
yeah,
peek
because
the
we
turret.
called to go in, and like obviously I want to go with my team, and
hmm But
the
yeah,
turret
that
said,
comes down to this mindset of yes, we can dive with two people. Diving with two people, or even just two ignoring the supports, diving with two people is perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with it as long as we're not just all stacking on the same angle.
yeah,
Because again, we don't have this front. They have better frontal damage than us, so they're gonna win this every day. It would have been better if even Jamal was just playing this angle, or if Jamal was playing this angle or Prod was playing this angle. We might have seen a little bit more success. Maybe Brig would have looked over, Bap would have looked over, Cass would have looked over. Someone would have taken their focus off this fight, and that probably would have caused less death, or maybe even a different outcome of the fight. Just because we aren't all our main damage dealing isn't all just in the same area, so they can, yeah, just so they have somewhere else to look. Jamal, if you do watch this, don't forget that you can climb walls. You don't need to take the main path all the time when you can climb this wall and now you're on an off angle. Or even climb this wall and now you're above. Something like that. Use your character's mobility to its advantages. I'd say the same to Joey. If it was applicable to him in some cases, use your character's mobility. It's in the game for a reason. So make sure that we're maximizing our character's potential. It's a good beat. So we're actually up here. It's a target focus with Jamal. Yeah.
Don't think we're on the same target.
Yeah, no, we're not. Because Joey got split. Yes, Joe, you're doing a fine job of pressuring out this Cass. I'm hoping that you were calling this Cass when you were doing
Yeah,
when
it was one.
yeah, and this is where I'd say Jamal, just come get the one swipe on this Cass, climb over this wall, and now you're above while Prod and Joe go take the main front. I think we might have seen a little bit more success because we have Lucio right here. Mainly with Blade it's similar to Tire where it has to get in close to get value, but it's also easy to shoot. It's easy to shoot out when it's in these high levels because people are able to aim. So you really need to like think about, okay, how do I maneuver myself into the fight? While it seemed like you were in it for a little bit, it's still risky to like just blade in front of in front of 3 to 4 people, because they're just gonna instantly look at you. So making sure that we're blading, and then making sure that when we blade that we're utilizing our movement to get us in and out of cover to maximize our value with that blade. And then yeah, also just being on the same target, because I think just we could have easily finished off this cast, and then we could have bombarded this group. Unfortunately, Joey may be dead here. Let's see, does he have TP? No, he does not. Yeah, but that's a sacrifice we just need to take, because he unfortunately got himself split. Yeah, Joe should not have died there, and I think the blade could have just been maneuvered better. Jesus. Well, he made up for it.
Team kill.
That was a good fight. Great early. I think there, Joe, we might have been looking at the Sigma a little bit too much when Prod and our support line is ready to do attacks on this backline. Because Sigma doesn't really have mobility. He has range, but he doesn't really have mobility. And with your bubble, you could easily deny his range capabilities. So simply even just jumping over here.
I
Could
think
just,
I was trying to, but I think the Kitsune was slightly late, and then when he popped it, I was already half and I had to force bubble. I'm not too sure. I
Let's see
think
again.
that's what happened. I don't know.
Yeah, you've taken a little bit of damage, but I think it's honestly
Yeah,
a fine enough to the. Did Joe just use TP?
yeah, he TP'd.
Why? I don't think we. I think it's yeah, Joey. I think your TP usage could be a little better because I don't think that was a necessary TP.
Well, I jumped right, so he would TP to me, and then we would continue on the Sig. But I think he just did
Yeah, no,
it
that was just not a necessary
late.
TP, Joey.
Yeah.
We could have saved TP here and then just communicated. Well, yeah, you took a lot of damage. You're still a tank. You still have a good bit of health. I think it's 250. No, it's about 300 health, which is still a good amount, especially if we're looking to just dive a backline source, because you're gonna have jumping back here
I don't know,
probably.
man. It's a cast and it's a Torb.
It's a
I'm
cast
not
and a
too
Cass is
Torb.
sure.
dead. Cass is dead. I killed Cass.
Yeah. But even without that knowledge of you still have Prod here, you'll still have that Kiri right behind you. You'll still have Bubble at the time and that Lucio for speed. You have a lot of support util with you and players with you, so that they are either gonna die if they step up in front of, continue to step up and fight Prod here. Just kind of holding this angle, and now you could step up with Prodigy. And I think that would have made a little bit of a difference, as well as it would just you would have completely split the Sigma from the fight, fighting that 5-on-4, pretty much. I think this fight, well, it looks like we do win it. I think just the target focus, I think, could have been a little better, or if anything, even just jumping this brig right here might not have been a bad option. Splitting,
Well, yeah, usually what I do is I use this bubble and then I jump on the second bubble.
mhm.
That makes sense. But I just felt that it was not worth the gamble to jump in half.
Yeah,
And also, Joey already used TP,
yeah, yeah. I can
so it
understand
might have
that.
been a
Yeah.
bit rough. So I think maybe holding it, even though I'm considering my bubble should be faster and I'll come later, even though it's a good opportunity, it's, yeah,
Yeah, I like that
it's
at
whatever.
least you understand the safer option and made the safer decision, because it is a little risky. But sometimes the riskier option does lead to a little bit more success, is the best way I could put it. But as the team gets more comfortable playing with each other and more coordinated, maybe the risky option becomes less risky in that way, and because you have more faith in your teammates and in your and in the people you're playing, and yeah, just in your teammates. So yeah, just understanding that what
Yeah.
the other options are, I think is just good. So now that we see, yes, I like that I like that you made the safe option decision. But now we also know, okay, we have the option of going on this brig maybe, and playing with Prod. Because Prod also makes sure that you're communicating what you do. Like cast stuck,
No, I
cast dead.
was. I was. I
Yeah,
was.
okay, that's good. That's good. Because that also is something that Joe you can listen for. Okay, Cass is already dead. That's one less threat for me to need to worry about. Now Torbjorn's not going to push a 4v1 or 4v2, right? Surely not. And if he does, he should be picked off again, as well, just like his teammate. Welcome, Jamal.
Hello.
Yeah, overall good fight win though. Jamal, one thing that I just kind of said to you is, at least this round, is utilize your movement a little better, because you kind of just like taking the basic walking path when you have the ability to climb and double jump, and I just don't feel that you utilize it as much as you could. Kind of one good example is when we were just trying to fight in this area, you just kept taking this stairway pathway when you have the ability to climb up this wall, when you can climb up these walls, and get a little bit of a more surprise angle on them that they might not be expecting as much, as well as getting that off angle, because Prod is forced to take one of these stairways and you aren't. You don't have to. So get that secondary angle on them. So then they have to make a decision. You know?
Yeah.
Okay.
Score 0-2. Ready for battle.
Oh.
Ready for battle. 2, 1.
Same comp. Great.
Ready
I
for
hate
battle.
inside maps. They're so hard to spectate.
1. The objective is now active.
Good disengage. But now we have time to set up like Prod's doing. Great.
Do you think early pressure would be good, or do you prefer 3-2-1 and dive in?
What are you
I mean,
referring to?
I mean that fight, I early pressured the cast.
Right
It's
here?
very hard to early pressure as Monkey against Malga, but I mean as my DPS am I the best of the team.
Yeah.
To-
Like, so I'm assuming you're talking about this fight right here when what we're looking for. So whether or not to set
Yes,
up a
it
dive
was
or
like
have.
we dived straight away, I think, at the start, like without any like opportunity besides us being set up, if that makes sense.
Hmm. Yeah. So you're not necessarily. I wouldn't even necessarily say that you're not set up, because looking at where Prod is set up in a way, because he's on that off angle, that secondary decision making that we want to see. So in a way, you guys are set up here. And
Yeah,
even that.
like
Yeah, even
I'm
this
shooting
should
the
take map
cast.
control. Yeah, and this Cass is already less than half. So now Cass is either
Yeah.
forced to back up or look at Prod to get that pressure off him. So now, yeah, you already have a little bit of early pressure, while not necessarily a setup dive. You have that early pressure of the possibility of getting in there. And I'm assuming Prod's calling this, great, and then you guys
Yeah.
push him off, and Joe
Yeah,
goes
we
in, and
fucked
then
him.
you get the finish. So you did have that little setup, but right there, the early pressure ended up winning that fight for you guys. Uh, whether it would have made a difference to have a setup timing, unknown really, but I think early pressure worked, but I think also a time countdown would have also worked, because it looks like you guys kind of did a mixture of both, because you guys did really well. Once I see Monkey jump in, I see the rest of you go in right after that, which is good. Because there's nothing wrong with either. I think it's just how you can go about it, and you guys went about it pretty well, if that makes sense. This would be a situation where I'd say maybe a countdown would be a little better, because early pressure could end up getting picked off here, especially with, Jesus, how
Yeah,
aggressive an
yeah.
angle are you taking?
I go all the way around.
Oh my goodness.
No, watch.
It's
I
a
don't know if it's the right thing to do, but I thought it was okay because like no one's looking at me, and then when they jump
yeah,
in, I can go in.
yeah, it's risky, but this is also where I mean like that countdown is more beneficial, because
Yeah,
it'd be something where you wouldn't look to early pressure here. You would wait for
Well,
that countdown.
the plan was we wait at the door and we basically just do a little bit of early pressure, and then when they run out, we sort of let them like walk out a bit, and
Yeah,
then we
take
can
the
dive
space,
them
and then
when
you
they're in
guys
the open
just
space.
dive the space. Yeah, yeah.
But I would argue maybe if Prod's behind, I would jump forwards. You think or no?
Here, it would all look. That would come down to timing. It would come down to timing
Yeah.
and their like
If
micro
there's an
positioning.
opportunity.
Yeah, because you would need prod to already be set up, and then you need to kind of think, okay, when are they going in? Are they going to come in, or are they going to wait a couple seconds?
Yeah.
Which that's a very risky option, and I think maybe we could play that off a little better if prod had pulse, which he is coming up on. But if we can try to get more of that guaranteed kill with the pulse, so that we can
Yeah.
make our job a little safer. So I think with pulse, diving onto them, going I guess for that early pick, and being more aggressive here would be a fine option. But since prod doesn't really have pulse, I'd say maybe just more or less give them the space, like you said, and play the safe option. Give them the space, have prod attack from behind, just cutting off that back disengage angle, while the rest of you follow in from the front, and you have Joey on the flank as well to support prod with whatever necessary, whether it be damage or healing. So yeah, just the safe option. It's tried and true. It works. So giving them the space and then just taking it back, I think is probably the best option. And all that means for prod is prod just has to wait until they take that space,
Okay.
so that he doesn't get turned on.
Because here, if we hold them close to the door, I'm literally right behind, so I can literally just go if we go.
Yeah,
And we have Kitsune, so
I
I
think the
thought
call
we'd
now
look
was probably if they walk out, we could Cine. I think that's the
Yeah,
plan.
yeah.
yeah, and that's good because now see they're forced to back up. Because if they kept going, they are going to take a lot of frontal damage. And then I think prod, the only difficulty here is that you could have probably stepped up a little bit and maybe look to have taken this left side. Maybe see if you could have drawn them left
Yeah,
in
maybe.
some way. Because you have these walls that you could play. You even have re.
Yeah, yeah.
You have this drop. You have a lot of options for movement. And then this is a great re-engage off that.
If we need to beat and Blade there,
I don't think so.
Let's see. Rush. Rush I could see being necessary.
yeah, I like the rush.
Yeah, and we got out there rush for it too.
I
Our
just don't.
blade, we're already up a little bit. I think
Yeah,
blade is fine. I think when it comes to B, I think one or the other is the best way to put it. One or the other, not both.
I think we could definitely do that with me behind though.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
This was fine. I think prod, maybe you're being a little too risky with them having a lot of close range characters. Because now you're
Yeah.
just getting insta focused. And I think just maybe try to recognize your micro positioning. Like, okay, I'm gonna play outside the bubble because I could take some extra chip damage while playing inside the
Yeah.
bubble from this venture. So just understand that little micro. Maybe
I
play
could have
this
definitely
corner.
played it better, yeah.
Yeah.
But I feel like the me behind could definitely work.
Yeah, yeah. And that's perfectly fine because it doesn't have to just be you. It could be Jamal too. If he wanted to,
Yeah.
if we wanted to coordinate like maybe blading from behind, that would have been an interesting option that I think could have
yeah.
worked as well.
Genji can climb through the window. They usually do that on
Yeah,
this
yeah,
map, and it
Genji, you
works.
can come up. You can come up from under here, and now you have this
Especially
angle.
with the Lucio. Yeah.
And that also goes into the point with Joe wanting to jump on them from in here. We would have those three angles. Okay, they would have to. They don't have that. They don't have any disengage options if we wanted to play it like that. And then the supports are just probably more just all. Both supports could be here, or we put maybe Kiri with the Genji. And then now we have the three solid angles, which also I think would work well. And it just comes down to how do we want to engage this fight? Are we ready? What else do we want to use here? So like just tell Jamal. Jamal, let's look to
It's
blade.
just setting up for the plan.
Yep. Just how do we want to set up? And sometimes just having a VOD helps with understanding. Okay, these are our setup options. But yeah.
I asked for Blade here. I was asked so we can re-engage with Blade, and I think it's okay. Maybe we didn't need it, the Blade, but we definitely don't need the beat here. If
Yeah.
you see the
Yeah.
heals.
My view is just one or the other. If we already were
Yeah.
calling for blade like you're saying, then yeah, beat's unnecessary. But if we weren't calling for either, I'd say do neither because I really think we should get down to the point where we're communicating what ults we want to use each fight and only using those ults each fight. That comes
Yeah.
with the plan that we make. And that'll just build up a little bit of a habit. Okay, why didn't we use that ult? Oh, because we didn't communicate that we wanted to use that ult. Okay, so then going forward, let's communicate that we want to use that ult instead of just popping ults out of nowhere. Kind of like the beat here. And maybe in some ways the blade. Maybe people didn't hear you is mainly what I mean with that. So yeah, just mainly with just our planning with setup. I think is the best way we could look to view this differently. I actually want to, since we're still on the topic of setting up. So we,
Hey, Joey.
I just don't think we were scouting or
yeah, that's
doing
partially
setting
going to be
up.
what I'm going to say.
Yeah, I was dead, so I was coming back. I was willing to take the right angle, and then by the time I was there, that's when I knew they were there.
And that comes down to Jamal a little bit. Maybe Jamal recognized, okay, Prod's dead. Maybe I need to pick up a little bit more on the scouting that Prod would normally be doing. So maybe I come up here and drop down. Okay, what do I see? What way do they go? Oh, they go well, our right. So I'm just gonna climb back up and set up for this right side. Or I just stay up here and get ready to drop down when Joe jumps over. And so now I'm on this off angle. And since Prod's still coming out of spawn, he's just gonna go here. And now we have those two at that double angle. Because Prod's coming out of spawn. And if Prod
Yeah,
wasn't
that's
coming
my
out of
bad.
spawn, yeah, no, that's fine. It's fine. This is what this is for, to recognize this kind of stuff. And if Prod wasn't coming out of spawn, okay, he's already here on this left side. So now instead, he communicates that, and then maybe Jamal, you come over here and play it here. But one thing that Joe can do is maybe Joe takes the flank with Lucio here. Now they have to worry about the Winston pressure with Joe being aware that he can jump out if necessary up here. There's a lot of different ways that you could play a dive comp on a lot of these maps. It just comes down to how do we want to set up and how do we want to catch them off guard? What would surprise them most here, and what would they be least expecting? Because sometimes the Winston being the main flank is or the tank being the main flank is a little bit unexpected for some teams. So having Winston take this is not a bad option. But also, I wouldn't disagree with Winston just jumping and being the frontline pressure here. While we have either Jamal or Prod take this flank. In this case, probably Jamal, because he's the only one that can really get up here quickly and around quickly. With Joey, maybe. It just comes down to that setup. How do we want to set up on the map? And for the fight. Oh wait, tour. Yeah, that's a great stick. A little unfortunate for Joe, can't say too much. I think maybe there was just a miscommunication on the aggression levels here. Is kind of what it looks like.
I think I just shouldn't have went in there if one of my teammates weren't like behind or on the like jump through the window. Like if someone jumped through the window or went behind, I should have went in. But because no one did it, I shouldn't have went in.
That's like saying how you guys set up or not, you know.
Yeah, and that's fair.
Yes.
Now we recognize it. Ways that we can take those off angles. So again, this comes down to Prod and Jamal. You guys need to recognize, okay, what are the off angles of this map, and which of us is better to take it. Like with this point, the off angle here is probably better for Jamal to take because Prod's already going to be set up here because up here is technically main. The main route that most teams take. So this is the off angle that Prod's normally going to be at. So he's now technically going to be on the unofficial main with Joe jumping over. So now Jamal, you need to set up on the flank because you're the only one capable of getting onto that flank. Versus up here, Prod's on the flank because he's already on the flank and he's able to pressure from here or going all the way around from here. So understanding what part of the map which of you should be pressuring, mainly just what does this flank require verticality, is kind of how you guys should view it a little bit more. Or are they pressuring a flank that Prod's already on?
Yeah.
But yeah. And then it's just besides the lack of someone on that separate angle, I think it was just a little bit of a lack of communication on how we wanted to take the fight. Because it looks like Prod and Joe wanted to be in there.
Yeah.
And the other three of you just sitting out there. Just fine. It just comes down to, okay, now we recognize this. So if Joe's in there, Prod's in there, maybe we just see, maybe not even like communicate it. We just visually see, oh, two people are in there. I need to go in and help.
Can you rewatch the fight from this angle?
Yeah.
Sweet primal pulse.
Joe
Yeah, I
was
definitely
dead
think.
for a bit. Yeah.
I think we could have all went in. If we all went in, I think we win this fight.
Yeah. If our target, as long as after Joe died, one of you picked up on that target calling, I could agree with that.
Yeah, because the Malga's literally one shot.
And Cass is half, and they don't
Yeah.
have a Kiri. They only have the Lucio to deal with. And worst case, I guess, you guys get out the beat.
Yeah.
You guys lose the fight, but you get outbeat is the best way you guys can view it, because you guys are already up on time or percentage, so you can take this lost fight with also successfully getting out one of their biggest ults. That's a victory.
I don't know what happened. Did you have TP, Joey?
I think I TP'd out and then I TP'd in because we went too fast.
Okay, there's TP usage. Yeah,
I think I
just
TP'd as you jumped out, so it's really bad.
yeah, a little bit of a miscommunication there as to what you're trying to do. But Joey, I think one thing that I did notice over the past two rounds that you weren't here is your TP usage. I think you use TP a little bit unnecessarily when there
Yeah.
are times that you just kind of can walk there instead.
hmm
Because TPing in is a little risky at times. I think maybe save T. I think with the scrim tonight, try to think of it more as I'm just gonna TP to get out. That's all I really want to
Yeah.
TP to do tonight.
It's
So
hard to
you
weigh
can
up the aggression. I like sometimes I'm like, do I need to go in and help you? Yeah,
yeah.
it's hard to weigh up.
Yeah, because
Try.
you do have ranged healing. It just takes a little longer, which there's nothing wrong with TPing in all the time, or sometimes. There are things where it is necessary to TP in sometimes, because you will need to get that save. But
Yeah.
understanding what am I TPing in on? Is it worth it? Because here, if you did recognize, see what you were TPing in on, you're going to be TPing right in front of a Mauga if you do that. And if Winston even does jump out, that's not even a winnable fight for that's not a winnable 1v2 situation. That Mauga wins that 1v2, unfortunately. Just because Winston doesn't have that damage output.
Yeah.
Nothing I could really say. That was a good ult.
I was just busted.
Plus, yeah, I wouldn't say busted. He's just strong. He's good against dives because he could really shut down. Dive works off movement, and he could just shut that down. I think the best I could say is here is the maybe not all of us should have gone. Maybe not two of us should have gone. Did he get caught too?
I TP'd
No,
in because
I
I
only
thought we're all in it anyway. We may as well just.
I only
TP in.
jumped there because they don't hold the door. They literally give me space. So I thought, okay, I'm just gonna jump here, and then they will just bum rush me.
Yeah.
But I guess there's two of us here, and Lucy's in as well.
And this comes down to, I've said it a couple times to you guys, is just what ults do they have online? Yes, we do communicate that at times. Well, I'm not sure about the new guy. I know Skirt was decent at it. Or this was a trial, right? This guy? Not,
This guy's French. When he was out trekking, I did not understand.
okay. Yeah, but we need to, this is where the importance of ult tracking comes in, because we need to know what ults they have online, and then what are we going to do about it. Because maybe if we knew Mauga's ult was online, we'd play a little bit more cautious around the Mauga, or a little bit more separate, and we wouldn't have been as grouped up as we were here. Maybe it would have only caught Joe. But with that, the Mauga's also trapped in here, so maybe we look to pick off the Kiri instead, because she's not in there. Or if someone else steps out, we look to pick them off to try and even the score a little bit, while this Mauga is trapped in here and limited on movement. Or even in that case, why not take point? Force some of them back to point in that case.
Yeah, that's what I usually want to
Mm.
do when we're attacking. We're going past this choke, especially when they're all stacked up by the door. I want basically everyone just taking angles and me staying at the
Basically,
door. Like Genji going up top, Tracer go with point. You know, one support going with the Genji, one support maybe staying with me. Just we
Yeah.
need to have this layout.
Yeah. Prod, you're the payload princess on escort maps. You could be the payload princess on control maps as well.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
I love it.
creating that pressure on the payload on the point really if they either have to go back to point or they're gonna lose it. So it
I think
forces the
next
movement.
fight I literally do. I
Oh,
think after this I'd literally go to point.
that's perfect.
Fine.
Yeah, otherwise just playing into Malgal's hard in the first place. So it's not too much that we can say about that. Except for just we could be maybe a little bit more prepared for it.
Yeah, I take point.
Yeah, there we go. And the walls come up, that's even better. See, they don't even touch it. Now they're back on the aggressive instead of offense instead of defense.
Yeah, I said if they drop, we jump high.
And those are good dives. Well, they could have been a little bit more coordinated. That's some of the best dives you guys had so far. Right there at the end. Okay, overall not bad. I think, yeah, while you guys did end up winning each point, they were all fairly close. The main things I could say are we should look to work on our setup so that we could have more successful dives. While thinking about, not necessarily for you, Joe, but more for Prod and Jamal, thinking about what are the flanks that we can take and what is the plan here. But maybe what, Joe, you could be thinking about is how do I want my team to be set up? As well as like Prod maybe already taking a flank. How could we play off that flank that Prod's taking? How could do we want Jamal to take a flank as well, or do we want Jamal down main? Are we running that hard dive, or do we have a sojourn instead? Because those things are a little bit determinant as to how we take that fight and how we want to set up for that fight. And then just a little bit more minor on make sure that we're looking at the same target. And who do we have today for our trial or person? Same person?
It
Or
was meant to be Yuki, but
Yuki.
I don't know if
but
he's
we've
coming
got to
in.
find another one.
Oh, okay. Either way, let's make sure that they're all tracking. And then what do we want to do about their ults? Because if they have a certain thing, like beat, do we want to beat out beat before we do anything? Like if Jamal's playing Genji, do we want to get that beat out so that he can go ahead
Who's
and
that?
blade successfully?
Who's that loose here?
Yeah. And if the trial isn't tracking, I'm gonna suggest you guys kind of pick it up in some ways, so that we can have that, so that we can work on that ult planning, and planning around those ults. Okay. Otherwise, I don't have too much. I think I got to the points that I needed
Were all
to.
the other maps the same? The ones that I missed? Roughly.
He recorded it, so he could just
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
watch
yeah.
it.
I'm gonna upload it in a couple seconds. It'll take a little bit because it's 40 minutes.